What's up, guys? Mike here, down in the dungeon, and today we're going to talk about authenticity. But first, let's do some channel updates. I think that I'm going to try to figure out how to create thumbnails because I mean, it's to be honest, the effort that I'm willing to put into these videos is pretty minimal. But I also think like just having my face as a thumbnail probably isn't very like, I don't know. It certainly isn't catchy at all. But that, and then mainly though, also for like the other channel, when I finally get around to making a video on the other channel, I would like to have those probably as thumbnails. So I'll probably experiment maybe some on this channel first. What else? Baby's doing good. You know, I'm just kind of wore out. So, but everything's going pretty good. So let's get into it. We're going to come at this probably from a few different angles, but something that's really been, I don't know, just presented itself to me lately is this sort of idea of authenticity, and it's almost like a very difficult subject to articulate, but let's try, and it's probably easier to articulate it via what isn't authentic, but let's see if we can figure it out. So I started listening to, just in case you don't know already, but I don't read books, man. I don't have time to sit and read, or even the attention span to sit and read. So I listen to books on Audible, and I listen to, I listen to a lot of them, but it's hard for me to find new books without recommendations. Like I need somebody that I at least value their opinion at some point to like recommend something, and then I'm like, okay, I could probably give this a shot. And sometimes I like the books and sometimes I don't. But I started listening to Fight Club, the movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie, and I'm listening to the book, and the book is considerably different. The book is like, how would you say, it's a lot different, but it's also it's more twisted. It's more twisted than the movie. The movie, well, in a way, the movie really doesn't even seem all that twisted, but the book is twisted for sure. I've been listening to that, and that was sort of inspired, almost. We've been watching a TV show, what is it called? It's not even a new TV show, called Mr. Robot, that is sort of feels almost inspired by the movie Fight Club or the book. And there was a podcast I listened to the other day that we'll talk about in a second. And then also, like, there's this song that, I don't know, just randomly found me on, I think, probably on Instagram or something the other day, by Blues Traveler. The song, the title of the song is Hook. So, like, the world of authenticity has been screaming at me, like, for the past little bit. And really, it screams the loudest from the perception of like inauthenticity, basically. So, one of the ways that you can, I'm guessing, like I said, this is such a difficult subject to talk about, but it seems like one of the ways that you can wrap your head around what it means to be authentic is by pointing out things that aren't, that are inauthentic or not authentic. And the movie Fight Club does a really good job of that. You know, it's your, you know, the bullshit American dream that you were sold that was sort of a lie the whole time. Look, we got this Epstein thing going on right now. This is July of 2025, and you know, you were sold one thing and it ends up being another. Everybody's fucking lying, or nobody's lying. We don't really know what's going on. There's like a crazy limbo right now in the entire world where we don't really know what's going on because somebody's lying. We just don't know who it is. And you know, and it feels like the world's almost kind of upside down right now in regards to that. But you know, the podcast I listened to where the guy, he talks about limited language models, so LLMs, right? So this is like an AI sort of coming at this from an AI perspective, but basically it's like, think about LLM as your normal everyday chit chat, right? Like it's the bullshit. It's the stuff that Fight Club calls out, and it's sort of like this song calls out. It's all this fakeness. It's like, oh, how are you today? Oh, I'm doing well. You know, how are you? You know, this like scripted speech that nobody really acknowledges. You know, it's not necessarily that you don't mean it. It's that this facade, this fake sort of world that you live in is not really acknowledged by people. And so you have some people that like see it, but you can't really, you could probably escape it, but we're talking about like, if you know anything about like Buddhism or something like that, this would be like the idea of like enlightenment. Like you can escape it, but the escape may not, kind of sucks. You know, the other day I think it was on here, I was talking about the Matrix, and where like you know, you can be woken up from the Matrix, but what you're woken up into, like the real world that you're woken up into, kind of fucking sucks. Like, so, you know, in a way there's sort of this like comfort in being asleep or being just like the masses, you know what I mean? And so, you know, you're with your Starbucks, and look, these are not, how do I say, I'm not like calling anybody out with these, I'm just trying to give you generalities, like with your Starbucks and your I don't know, your 1.5 kids or whatever it is, and your church and all this thing, like people have this, your political party, these things where, what else, your credit card debt, your car payment, you know, your BMW or I don't know what the one is now. What was everybody, well, I don't know, it was for a while there, everybody was driving a Jeep, or everybody wanted a Jeep, you know, whatever. Like there's, you know, like, I think if you know, you know. You know, if you know, you know. I try to be as authentic as I possibly can, while knowing at the same time that it's not necessarily possible, or not necessarily wanted. Like I don't necessarily desire to be 100% authentic. Like I don't necessarily want to escape from the Matrix permanently. I don't necessarily want to be enlightened, because look, I like DoorDash. You know what I'm saying? I like Netflix. I like I like my guilty pleasures. I like them, and I don't necessarily want to get rid of them. So there's this fine line that you walk where you're trying to be as authentic as you can, but yet at the same time you're sort of playing the Matrix. So I'll talk about the song real fast. So, which is still sort of in my mind, it's in my zeitgeist right now, and I don't necessarily know if I can do it justice, but the song Hook, right, Blues Traveler, and when I was younger, I heard the song and I didn't really know what the lyrics were, and I really honestly didn't like the song, other than the fact that I thought it said titties in the song, right? But it doesn't actually. But I thought that it did, because I have never been really great at picking up on lyrics. I've usually always had to look up the lyrics to actually really know what was in the song. And back in the day, when we had CDs and stuff, like a lot of times you didn't know what the lyrics were. We didn't have really like the internet where you could go on and like, oh, what's the lyrics of this song? It wasn't like that. So a lot of times you were just fucking guessing, right? Or I guess you could probably have somehow found it, but I never, I don't guess I was that interested. But sometimes the lyrics would come with the CDs, like the little fold out in the CD, but a lot of times it didn't. But anyway, when I first heard, I wasn't really a big fan of the song. Never was a big fan of it. And then I just happened to hear it in a Instagram reel the other day, and I was like, okay, like I like live music. Let's check this song out, see if it's something we want to add to the playlist. And so I go in there, and then I guess I looked up the lyrics, or at some point I got interested in the lyrics. And so nowadays you can just look that shit up. And I was like, the lyrics blew me the fuck away. They blew me the fuck away. I don't know that I've heard, obviously I don't know everything, but I don't know that I've heard more woke lyrics ever. It's like, it doesn't matter what I say. That's one of the lyrics, by the way. It doesn't matter what I say, as long as I say it. And I don't know the exact lyrics, but basically it doesn't matter what I say, as long as I say it in a believable way. And it just goes on, and it's like, yeah, man, look it up and look up the lyrics. Listen, don't just read the lyrics. Listen to the song while reading the lyrics. And then you'll be like, fuck, right? Like, this is deep. This is a very deep song. But it's, it's something that I have spent a considerable amount of time trying to get to. And so, what you hold as your God, right? Your highest value. This is Jordan Peterson's definition of God, is whatever your highest value is. So my highest value, I've searched, and my highest value is innocence. Okay, this is how, like, I love my children so much, and they represent this innocence. This is the purest form of God that there is innocence. And this is even reflected in the Bible. And Jesus, right? Jesus was sinless, right? Jesus was effectively innocent. This is what makes his sacrifice so profound, right? It's that we killed the innocent man. So, there's part of the Bible that holds up innocence as the highest order as well. So innocence is, when I say that, you're like, oh, yeah. No, this is a real thing. And to me, what represents innocence to me is authenticity. Okay, or one of the things that represents innocence to me is authenticity. So there's no part of me at all that believes that my 2-year-old is not authentic. She's absolutely authentic, 100% authentic, even when she's trying to manipulate. Okay? She is 100% authentic. That's what makes her innocent. That's what makes her closer to God, you see? Still, authenticity is one of my biggest, it's right up there. It's innocence, authenticity. They're almost one and the same to me. And it's difficult. It's difficult to operate in this life. While holding up authenticity and also knowing that you have to play the game. Okay, so if you go and you look up Alan Watts game or something, I don't know. But anyway, Alan Watts talks about this. He talks about life being a game. Okay, and it is, right? And there's lots of little games that are going on inside the game. Okay, but it is essentially, you can approach it as a game, you being the main character. Okay, and God, I could probably just go on and on and on about this. You get to create your character, and you approach the world as a game. Okay, the problem with the game is, there's a lot of problems with the game, namely the game makers, right? That's the biggest problem. The dungeon master, if you know anything about D&D. But one of the problems with the game is very sticky. It's very sticky. When you engage with the game, it wants you to stay in there. So like the Matrix, right? Say we can call it the Matrix of the game, whatever the fuck it is. When you go into it, when you interact with it, it wants you to keep interacting with it, right? Like it, and that's, hell, it's really analogous to the Matrix, 1999. It robs your energy, right? It wants you to stay in there, and it keeps your energy. Your energy is literally time, because you have a limited amount of time, and it's just robbing you. So this is what, like TikTok and Instagram, all these other things, YouTube even, like especially the areas of YouTube where you're not fucking learning anything, right? Where you're just going down some, I don't know, I don't really know that much about like those type. I use YouTube as a tool, but regardless, the game wants you to stay in it. It wants you to keep playing it, so it's very sticky. So what happens is the more you interact with it, the more difficult it is to get that shit off of you when it comes time to be authentic. Does that make sense? So I'll give you a concrete example and I'll shut this down. I feel that it is very important for me to stay up to date on the political situation in the world, okay? And even while at the same time, like this would be a little bit more of an authentic bent, knowing that the majority of what I'm consuming is probably a lie, probably propaganda, probably spun in such a way to make it something that it isn't. I know that. But it's still, I feel like it's still imperative for me to be in that and consume that, because then I have to, that sort of helps me know how to move my piece, right? I have to sort of know what the other side and what everything that's going on and all of the different timelines and all this other thing, so that I know how to move my piece on the chessboard or on the board, the life board, right? And also how to best protect the ones that are behind me. Does that make sense? But damn, it's very sticky over there, and it's easy to get drawn into like these debates and this kind of stuff, and it's because one of the stickiest things that it does is it incites your emotions. So if it can get you emotionally bound up in something, then that's even stickier and even harder to get out of. And so then you end up having, these big major blowouts online or blowouts with family about things that are out of your control, that may not even fucking matter, and it's all just emotion based because you're stuck. You're like stuck and you can't get the fucking matrix off of you. And people just, I don't know, just go to the comment section, okay? You'll see it. I think we're going to talk more about this. I'd like to end this video now, but I think we're going to talk more about this. I'd like to talk about authenticity and Christianity, or authenticity and religion. I think I'll probably save that for the Sunday special, which might be my next video. I don't know. I'm trying to get more videos out, but at the same time, I'm tired, man. And damn, I can't even imagine how tired Mama is, but But anyway, yeah, think about it. Think about, well, I mean, if you want to, it's kind of a lonely road. Uh, the sad part is, me and my wife were talking about this yesterday. The sad part isn't necessarily that there's a game and game makers. It's the sad part is that most people are doing it without knowing that it's a game, right? They're unwilling participants in it. They're just being swept along by the game and the game makers that they don't even know they're playing a game. And that's the sad part. If everybody woke up, I don't know what the world would look like if everybody woke up to the game. It would probably look a lot different, but I don't know necessarily if that's a good thing. I don't know. But it is a lonely world over here because most people are out there caught up in it and they don't even know that they are.